So lads, Indiana Fever fans are just different. They are just different.
If you wish to win an award, all you need to do is focus on Caitlin Clark, and congratulations. According to insiders, the basketball community is witnessing the emergence of a strong fan base that is changing the WNBA landscape through concerted support after seeing Clark's supporters organize to propel her from third to first place in the Webby Awards in a matter of hours.
We saw Caitlin Clark Muse win the Muse tournament, so much so that somebody tried to bot the vote so that Caitlin Clark didn't win the Muse tournament. And what the hell the Muse tournament is literally just a Twitter voting thing. Like, people were buying botted votes to try and make sure Caitlin Clark didn't win.
You'll see in the next moments how this one phenomenon evolved into a social media revolution, generating a fervently devoted fan base akin to Taylor Swift's iconic Swifties. While some women's basketball players embrace this new intensity, others, like Angel Reese, react quite differently. Pat Boy Boland, the play-by-play announcer for the Indiana Fever, jokingly posted on social media that the team's digital crew was nominated for a number of prestigious Webby Awards. One nomination highlighted Caitlin Clark's rookie season for Best Use of Video, but this is where things start to get insane.
Our digital team is up for numerous Webby Awards, many of them featuring Caitlin Clark. Among them were an extremely tight race for Best Video. Caitlin Clark's historic rookie season has 28% of the vote. The leader has 30% of the vote.
Yes, that's correct. Boland's initial post regarding the nomination in the realm of online voting contests. The leader had a slight but noticeable lead of 30%, and Clark's entry was in third place with 28% of the votes. This disparity usually proves challenging to close, as Clark wasn't even in second place and, based on voting trends, she looked to be essentially out of contention.
Obviously, look, this is the vote. You can look at this category on the Webby Awards. I don't even know what the hell the Webby Awards are.
Then came the shocking turn of events that nobody had anticipated. Fever supporters read Boland's post and acted right away. In just 2 hours, not days, not weeks, the tournament was completely turned upside down. As voters turned out in historically high numbers, Clark's nomination shot from third to first position.
Well, they were in third place when this tweet happened. They're now winning.
The voting percentages changed so quickly that some voiced total surprise in comments like, "Is this even possible?" and "I've never seen anything like this." Social media lighted up like a Christmas tree, and people couldn't believe what they were seeing in real time. The mobilization was compared by many to what you would find in the most well-organized fan communities in entertainment, but it was taking place in women's basketball.
Moved from third to first place within like 2 hours of this tweet. It is mad.
This fan response's rapidity was revolutionary. The spike occurred so swiftly that it totally violated the typical trends of online voting contests. The Fever supporters totally changed the result in a period of time that most marketing professionals would think was unthinkable.
It's everything is just voting for Caitlin Clark. We're only 2 points behind the leader in terms of percentage points, and now all of a sudden it has flipped from third to first. You're seeing it all on Twitter.
The magnitude and velocity of the mobilization are what really stand out about this. A hugely coordinated effort by supporters from various geographies and demographics to unite in support of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in a matter of hours. People's perceptions of women's basketball fandom are changing as a result of the Webby voting surge, which showed a developing tendency when it comes to anything related to Clark or the Fever. Fans show up and dominate with an intensity that's difficult to deny. Even the most well-known WNBA players haven't experienced this kind of immediate support, so there is a change from conventional wisdom as fans are now supporting women's basketball with the same fervor and strength typically found in major men's sports or famous entertainment fan bases, like Taylor Swifties or K-pop stans.
All you have to do while being up for an award or anything is to just, you know, make it an award for Caitlin Clark, and the fans will be going absolutely berserk in terms of their voting, and they can seemingly win everything.
Imagine the impact on product sales, ticket demand, and television ratings if Fever supporters have the ability to change the result of an award competition in a matter of hours. This shows a level of fan power that has the potential to drastically alter the way women's basketball is conducted.
I'm not joking when I say this. This is the basketball equivalent of the Swifties.
The Clark effect is so strong that analysts are drawing comparisons between sports that quickly gain a following with the same level of commitment, organization, and quick response as Taylor Swift Swifties that would have seemed unthinkable only months ago. We're seeing this change happen right now as WNBA experts have officially dubbed Fever supporters the Swifties of basketball, a moniker that signifies a radical change in the way women's sports fandom functions.
Like, we can never forget that this happened. Like, it's hard to believe, like, it's hard to just wrap my head around just what is happening. Like, this was less than 3 months ago. It has been one of the wildest years ever.
This shows unheard of fan support for the WNBA. Traditionally, a player's popularity in sports usually grows over years or even decades as they accumulate a fan base, influence, and stardom. However, Clark's fans have completely upended that timeline, setting a new standard for fan power that is astounding veterans.
It is like an equivalent to Swifties. And I mean that, like, that is the best way I can describe it, is that it is like a takeover of the Swifties.
Similar to how Swifties organize concert ticket sales, the coordination was amazing when Clark starred in a commercial last month. Clark Nation trended within hours as fans shared videos, made jokes, and increased engagement levels that surpassed significant NBA announcements. Fans of the Fever exhibit the same tenacity whenever there is a chance to show support for Clark, and within minutes rather than days. Social media is ablaze with fans alerting one another and planning support. What's most amazing is that this is taking place during what should be the quietest period of Clark's career. Normally, the off-season means rookie attention wanes, but for Clark, it's turning into the most intense spotlight of her life. Fans follow her commercial shoots, watch training videos, and produce content centered around her every move, even when there are no games. The engagement metrics during this downtime surpass those of most WNBA players during playoff games.
Like, if you have online polls, like, you better believe that there would be and Taylor Swift was up for the greatest artist of all time, the Swifties would go and rig it. It's like the K-pop fans.
Both Swifties have mastered transforming individual emotion into group action that produces results, as evidenced by their fervent devotion to their hero, which includes standing up for them in the face of criticism and organizing thousands of people in a matter of minutes when called upon.
Like, we also can't forget with the K-pop fans that like, the K-pop fans randomly just started voting Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins got an all-star because of the K-pop fans. And this is like that. This is genuinely like that.
This phenomena is particularly noteworthy in women's basketball, a sport that has battled for decades to gain widespread acceptance while having incredible players and captivating narratives.
And also, I actually think that the all-star voting next season is going to be Caitlyn, obviously one. I think number 2 is probably going to be Aaliyah again. Kelsey Mitchell in all-star voting will probably go up to 3. If I'm not mistaken, Alyssa Smith had more votes than Kelsey Mitchell last year. Insiders
are watching in awe as early indications suggest Clark could become the top all-star vote-getter as a rookie, something unprecedented in professional basketball. This would represent a historic achievement that would fundamentally change how we understand fan influence in the WNBA. The question that is currently circulating throughout the WNBA is whether this fan power will translate to all-star voting.
Because I have a weird feeling that the Fever fans voting for all-stars are going to vote the Fever starting 5 and the Fever bench. Like, we are going to see, and I mean this, we are going to see Kate Martin in the top 10 voting again.
Show that Fever fans are rallying to support their entire team, not just Clark. Based on the strength of this fan movement, we could witness several Fever players being named All-Stars. These developments are causing a stir in the league, and while many coaches and veterans celebrate the energy and attention, not everyone is happy. Players like Angel Reese seem to be upset about the shifting dynamics, as evidenced by social media posts that suggest she's having trouble adjusting to the new fan power structure that is rearranging the WNBA hierarchy.
They are just different. And we've seen the stuff like Erica Wheeler's, like the amount of thing she ended up getting from Fever fans, like money towards her charity.
That template we're talking about isn't just altering how people vote in online polls. It's changing real lives in ways that no one could have predicted. When Erica Wheeler started her charity initiative, she expected the usual modest support that WNBA players typically receive, but what happened left everyone in shock. Fever fans opened their wallets and turned up in numbers that charity organizers simply weren't prepared to handle. What started out as a goal to raise $10,000 for inner-city youth programs ended up with over $75,000 in donations and 3 times the expected volunteer turnout, and the support went well beyond Indiana residents. One donor from Seattle wrote, "I've never been to Indianapolis, but the Fever community inspired me to be part of something bigger than basketball." This nationwide outpouring of generosity demonstrated that Fever fandom transcends geographic boundaries and spreads across America at an astounding rate. Wheeler's charity received donations from all over the nation.
We at year 7 and the trajectory has changed. The world is watching us. And of course, we got to shout out Caitlin Clark. She has a big part of that of why the world is watching us. We gonna give her flowers. She is who she is. That's a motherfucker. We gonna just put it out in the air. But
This phenomenon goes beyond Wheeler's initiative. Every charity program associated with the Fever is seeing an unprecedented level of support. Player foundations, which previously struggled, are now seeing donation figures that would impress established NBA charities, and community service events that typically attract small crowds are packed with fervent supporters eager to donate their time and resources. Meanwhile, many in the WNBA media ecosystem continue to downplay what's happening, saying that it's just temporary excitement and that some commentators have suggested this surge in support is only a passing fad.
They're watching for other players too, and it's the league didn't grow because of Caitlin and all this stuff, and then you go and see all of these situations that are happening, and the only thing you can say is whether or not you agree the league only grew because of Caitlin or not, the Caitlin Clark fans are not only good for the game, they are here to stay.
These contemptuous opinions don't reflect reality. Instead of the usual spike and drop pattern that follows immediate sports excitement, the engagement metrics reflect a whole different tale. Analysts are monitoring consistent growth across all quantifiable parameters. Weekly increases in community involvement, charitable giving, and social media engagement aren't slowing down. Rather, they're gaining speed.
Genuinely may not see again in sports, and it is always so funny looking at the WNBA media trying to stop, not even kind of almost put a stop to this.
The Fever fans' unwavering support begs the important question of whether this fan power can completely change the landscape of women's basketball, or if it represents a fundamental shift in how people interact with women's sports more generally. For decades, critics have denied that women's basketball can inspire fervent fan engagement on par with any major sport, but their unwavering dedication and real-world impact are appending long-held beliefs about women's sports fandom and actively reshaping what's possible through their combined strength. This design is not unique to Indiana. Other WNBA teams are researching the Fever fanbase because they see how these fan interaction and community-building techniques might be applied throughout the league. Similar strategies are already being tested by the Connecticut Sun, while the Seattle Storm are creating initiatives especially meant to foster the kind of devoted community that is growing in Indiana.
Paulie's article in GQ, there's a difference between great players and phenomenons. No one ever said Caitlin Clark wasn't no one ever said there weren't ever great players before Caitlin Clark. There was never phenomenons, not in my lifetime, with women's basketball. And I went to UConn, so I've seen plenty of great players, but nobody's ever moved the needle in my lifetime like this.
Yes, a Fever.
While some veterans may feel threatened by this change in fan power, Fever fans have revolutionized women's basketball fandom and established a blueprint that changes the entire WNBA landscape. This change is exactly what women's basketball has needed, and the real question isn't whether Clark's popularity is too great, but rather how other WNBA franchises will adjust and create their own fervent fan armies. Do you believe that other teams can duplicate this phenomena of fan mobilization, or will the Fever strategy continue to be the only one used in women's basketball?